Welcome to Bandicoot Banter, where we cover all things ICMS and have a laugh along the way. My name is Angus, and I'm your host. 3 years ago, I commenced my university studies here at the college. After finishing in August, I'm now here to share with you ICMS experience. In this series, we will be taking you through everything you need to know right up until day one of classes. I hope you join me on this journey. Welcome guys to today's Bandicoot Banter. I'm pleased to first introduce my colleague, born and bred Northern Beaches local, who is my co-host for today. Welcome, Jody.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good to have you on, Jody. Couple things you should know about Jody, guys, is she's always down for a laugh, good time, but travelling outside the Northern Beaches bubble is quite the emotional experience.
It really is. I don't leave.
However, if you need advice from a local, she is your go-to girl. So thanks for being here today, Jody.
Anytime.
Guys, with ICMS scholarship deadlines coming up next week, we want to make sure you guys know everything that you need to know, exactly what is required and recommended throughout the process. And we want to cover some helpful tips for you guys as well. So I'm excited that we have previous scholarship recipient and ICMS student alumni here with us to help us out. So Phil, great to have you on here.
Hey guys, great to be here. And Jody, hopefully those couple of trips to our city campus didn't stress you out too much previously, but great to see you as well.
It's a good one. Phil, I hear you like jokes. Do you want to hear a joke?
You're the host, so I have to say yes, so go for it.
Okay, we'll see how this one goes. What kind of concert only costs 45 cents?
Something to do with 50 Cent, but I don't know what it's going to be.
The 50 Cent concert featuring Nickelback.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty smart, and I'm surprised that you understand that complexity of the joke. So, yeah, well done.
Phil, if you reckon you have a best feature, what would you say it is?
Oh, my personality, guys.
And what is the most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Oh, that is a good one. I've probably got some NSYNC somewhere tucked away in the depths of a playlist, I'm sure. But that can be embarrassing at times, but I'm happy to play it.
We'll get into the stuff we're here for today.
Cool.
So 7th of December deadline is not far away. Phil, can you tell us exactly what students need to submit by next week?
Yeah, so the first thing to note is the deadline is strict. So unless there's an announcement from the scholarship board about any changes to deadlines, then that deadline is strict. So make sure you're in by the 7th of December because it doesn't move. And the scholarship board won't be accepting applications after that point in time. The other stuff that you have to have is the application form itself. Sounds simple, but sometimes people forget that. We need to know who you are and who's submitting the application. So submit that along with all your details, like personal information in there. And there are a few questions in the application form that you have to answer. Now, you don't have to answer them on the application form. You can do them in Word, for example, and then send in a PDF. That's fine. And also any kind of supporting documentation that you have as per the application form. Now, the thing I recommend is making sure you put in additional information if you have it. So if you have additional awards or references or things that we can understand you a bit better and to kind of understand your circumstance, then I would strongly recommend adding that to your application. So kind of think of your application as like a minimum requirement. And then if you want to add weight to that, put as much in as you can.
Thanks for that, Phil.
Yeah, nice. So how would someone stand out when they're applying and interviewing?
Yeah, so you guys would know this, but I've done a lot of these interviews. I sit on the first round of interview panels, hence why you're firing some questions at me today just to give you some insight. But I've also sat on a lot of academic applications here at ICMS. So I've probably been in close to 1,000 interviews, I'd say. And to stand out, I would suggest not Googling how to stand out in an interview because everyone does that and then everyone gives me the same answers for the standard questions that you might think are coming your way. So we don't want to see the standard answer. We want to see you. We want to understand you as an individual. And everyone's got their own story. Everyone's got their own background, which makes them unique. And if you tell us your story, no one else is going to have the same story. So then you'll stand out. So my summary for that would be yourself, tell us your story, and don't give us the answers that you think we want to hear.
And Phil, if someone misses out on an initial scholarship, is there a chance to get one later on?
Yeah, there is definitely, and that's a pretty common thing in terms of not meeting either they don't get through to the first round of interviews, or you don't get from first round to second round, sorry, or you don't even get from second round to receiving a scholarship. There's obviously standards which we apply at each stage, and it's relatively common. So, and I think Gus, you may have been successful in receiving a second year scholarship here at ICMS, if my sources are correct. So, congratulations. So yeah, there's definitely scholarships available for current students. So if you do or you don't get one when you start, that's not the end of the game for you. You've definitely got more opportunity once you're here.
So how would you suggest someone dresses for their scholarship interview?
Yeah, so firstly, you've got to get outside Northern Beaches and get to a shopping mall to get some business to play. So if you can do that, then that's a good start. But once you've done that part, obviously Ringa Mall is more than appropriate. But I would suggest if you're a guy, then stereotypically kind of what Gus or I are wearing. So suit and tie. We know that the tie in the corporate world is kind of getting phased out. But we'd rather make sure you can dress to a higher standard, and then when you go for your first job interview, it might be a bit more casual, but at least you'll dress to a higher standard. And for ladies, Jody, what you're wearing is more than appropriate. A nice blazer, and doesn't have to be expensive, but just professional. So I suppose, and Gus, you say this all the time, I hear you talking to your students. Obviously, you've got some great connections with your students who are coming to start. Is essentially, if you're going for your first job or you're going for your dream job, what would you be comfortable wearing? And if you're comfortable wearing that, then I would suggest for the scholarship interview, you're going to be more than fine.
Yeah, great advice, I reckon. Is there any other financial assistance apart from scholarships? I know scholarships are quite competitive and people do miss out. But yeah, is there any other financial assistance that we'll be offering to students?
Yeah, it's a good question, because we see a lot of stories and stuff in the scholarship process which are a bit of maybe some tear jerkers and that kind of stuff, and it doesn't quite qualify for the scholarship process necessarily, but we have to say no based on the scholarship criteria. But there are other bursaries which are available to students. So we have things called high academic places, which is equivalent to a Commonwealth supported place at a public university, or also known as a CSP, and that reduces your tuition fees over the life of your time here at ICMS by about 33%, and that's based on your ATAR. Now, the only criteria besides your ATAR is that you have to have ICMS number 1 in UAC. We just don't get below offering. So you might get an academic offer, as a second preference for argument's sake, but then you won't get the HAP offer beside that. So that's really important. And also there's a whole range of other bursaries available. So if you're a regional or interstate student, such as yourself, Gus, you live outside of the Northern Beaches, unlike Jody, you come from Tamworth, so you've travelled more than 3 minutes to be here, then you might have be eligible for our interstate and regional accommodation bursary, which gives 50% off to the first 2 terms of accommodation. So that's one thing we have. And we also have a travel bursary for the locals. So people who do live locally, Jody, you do get $250 for your travel to get to and from uni when you start. So for your first term. So it could be an Opal card or petrol, whatever you want to put it towards. And then on top of that, we have a whole range of other sort of smaller, more personal bursaries. So I would just suggest talking to your advisor, and they'll point you in the right direction.
Great. Can't believe we didn't have that bursary in place when I was here, Phil.
Yeah, I know. You would have been eligible, and it would have obviously helped out a lot. So we just know that this year's been pretty crazy with COVID, the last 2 years. And just because the things are starting to ease up and restrictions are easing, it doesn't mean that the last 2 years of financial pressure all of a sudden disappear. We know families, particularly regional families, have had it quite tough. So we understand that. We want to help give back as best we can.
Yeah, 100%. Well, great chatting with you today, Phil. Covered some really important
stuff. Great being here.
So thank you.
No, my pleasure.
I hope you liked my joke earlier as well.
Oh, look, it was, as I said before, I was impressed. It was from you in terms of the intellectual side, so congratulations, well done. But yeah, we'll still might have to work on your humour. We'll get there.
So I'll just do a quick recap of the things that we've covered. So first of all, jump on our website if you are interested in a scholarship, download the scholarship kit. It'll tell you everything that you need to know to put in an application next week. Get in touch with your student advisor, get in touch with our team. We love chatting to students. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. And we genuinely enjoy it. So give us a call if you have questions. Dress like it's your first professional job or your dream job. And remember to be you. You are unique. You have your own story. So that's what will set you apart from others. And just remember, guys, no late submissions will be accepted. So the 7th of December is the hard deadline. So if you're interested, make sure you get your application in before then. And yeah, don't be late.